Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, December 15th, 2022, and I call this meeting of the Bellevue Planning Commission to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Hankins?
Present.
Mr. Ritz? Mr. Arney?
Present.
Mr. Sims?
Present.
Ms. Cutsforth?
Present.
Mr. Ackley?
Here.
Mr. Bennett?
Here.
Mr. Jacobson?
Present.
Mr. Parent?
This meeting will be conducted in accordance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the act is located on the wall at the back of this chamber. This time I ask all the commissioners and all audience members to silence your phones to prevent disruption of our proceedings. At this time I would accept a motion to approve the minutes of the November 17th, 2022 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second by Jacobson.
Motion by Bennett, second by Jacobson. Please vote.
Five voted yes. Mr. Arney and Mr. Ackley abstained. Motion carried.
This time I would accept into the record all staff reports, attachments, memos, and handouts regarding each application. Staff, any updates?
Just one update. You have in front of you an email we received on agenda item 3B from Bill Bright. The applicant has requested a continuance for this item. We did still give you the email. However, I would point out that this email will be attached to future staff reports.
Thank you. I would accept a motion at this time regarding the reports and memos and attachments.
Motion to approve as provided.
Second by Jacobson.
Motion by Ackley, second by Jacobson. Please vote.
All voted yes. Motion carried.
We have two public hearings before us tonight. I will read each case, announce each case, then the applicant will present their case and the request. At that time, I'll ask staff for updates, and then I will open it to the public to speak. If you are going to speak on a particular matter, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and also sign in. We begin with 3A, a request to declare blighted and substandard lots 7 and 8 Old Orchard Place, applicant Excel Development Group, general location 1012 Casper Street, case number ECD-59. Staff, any updates?
No updates. I'll provide a brief summary and the applicant come up and step in as well. This request is for property that's located the northeast corner of 13th and Casper. The request for blight and substandard is to facilitate a affordable housing, senior housing project down the road. If Planning Commission will recall, we recently had a blight and substandard request for the south side of Casper Street in this area, which was recently approved. This would carry that designation over to the north side of the street and these two lots. Based on, the statute being liberally construed, staff does agree with the applicant's analysis and is recommending that this area be declared blighted and substandard. That declaration would pave the way later on for TIF financing if the developer so desires. With that, I see Mr. Matika is here, so I'll let him step forward on behalf of the applicant.
Good evening. Mike Matika,
MATEJKA 10250 Regency Circle, Suite 525, Omaha. I'm here on behalf of Excel Development Group, and Mr. Connor Menard is also here from Excel to answer any questions you may have about Excel or about the project. As Ms. Palm mentioned, we're requesting the blighted and substandard designation for TIF for the planned development, which will be 18 duplexes, 36 units total of affordable housing for seniors. A little bit about Excel Development. They're headquartered in Lincoln. They've developed affordable housing projects in 31 communities in the state of Nebraska. They're a very experienced developer of affordable communities. They also have developed communities or projects in Iowa, Kansas, and Oklahoma. I guess in interest of your time, I don't know how deeply you want me to go into just talking about the property. In our report and in the staff's report, it describes a lot of, the factors or the issues. With TIF, you don't need to, the statute has a whole bunch of factors in it, and you don't need to have them all. You just need to have some to the point that if it considered it that it impairs the sound growth of the community, impairs housing. And maybe just a few things we'll talk about on the project. It's lots 7 and 8, Old Orchard Place. That was platted like in 1888 or something. The lots really don't work anymore. You don't have good access. If the eastern part of Lot 7 doesn't have good access to public thoroughfares. The house on the property, the residence is over 94 years old, according to the county assessor records. There's other buildings on the property, including a pole barn, a horse barn, a pole barn, and a tool shed. All of those are over 40 years of age. Some of them are in kind of deteriorated condition. The house has it's asbestos containing material, so they'll have to have special precautions used to remove the asbestos when they demolish the house. With the dense trees and vegetation and the deterioration of the building, it creates opportunities for vandalism and trespass, for the noxious weeds and vermin and potential of fires. So it's a public safety concern. There isn't drainage for storm sewer, so the water just kind of drains onto neighboring properties. The sidewalk, or there isn't a sidewalk on Casper, which creates a potential problem or risk in public safety for pedestrians, especially with the proximity to Bellevue West. That's kind of maybe the description of the property in the nutshell. I didn't know if there were any questions or either about the condition of the property or the project.
Well, at this time, I'll open it for a public hearing, and if anybody wants to speak on that, and then we'll turn it over to the commissioners after that, and if there are any questions, we'll ask you to come back up.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this particular application?
I have a question. Do you want me to?
Please come to the podium and state your name and address and sign in.
Okay.
About this particular application.
Right, I
Okay.
have a question
Okay.
pertaining to this.
Okay.
I'm Karen Albers, 1807 Madison Street here in Bellevue. My question is, more for you. When you do these developments, since you said it since the 1880s exactly, what do you have planned for the drainage and the plumbing, the sewage, the lighting, electrical that's not there?
If I may, this application only deals with the blight and substandard.
okay.
So the development piece will actually come down the road. At such time they come forward with the development, they'll come forward with a platting, a zoning, site plan, those things. And so we really can't answer that at this point until that engineering's been complete.
Okay, great. I was just trying to find how this works. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to the commissioners. Commissioners, do you have questions of the applicant?
I guess question for the applicant. Again, I have no doubt this fits the community development law in terms of the requirements for tax increment financing, which obviously is the next step for doing the blighted and substandard. You mentioned the CDBG block grant money. Is that contingent at all on the blight and substandard, or that's separate and apart?
Is it? No.
I mean, yeah,
I'll turn it over to Mr. Menard.
guess I can sign in real quick. My name is Connor Menard. I'm a housing developer with Excel Development Group.
Can you state your address too, please, for the record?
Address 8551 Lexington Avenue, Lincoln, Nebraska. But the DR funds, the disaster recovery funds, that was really a main driver as far as getting this project funded. That was back from the disaster from the 2019, if you recall. They're finally getting the funds out for it. But no, that isn't contingent per se on that. It mainly, the TIF just helps with the project because these projects are so tight as far as getting them funded and making the numbers work. That's part of the reasons why we can charge $600 to $800 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath duplex that's over 1,200 square feet. So yeah, really TIF is important to make the project pencil out. It doesn't really factor into the DR funds, but all of the funds, the LIHTC, the DR funds, and then the TIF, they all help the project pencil out and make it able to work, especially if we are going to have to with Habitat and others improve Casper Street, that would be pivotal. We would definitely going to need TIF to help with that as well down the road. And I should mention it is a senior project. It's not like we're adding a whole bunch of school kids and things into the public school system or anything like that. But yeah.
So the DR funds are locked in. It's just a matter of you got to fulfill construction by a certain point, the way it sounds. Or?
Yeah, we'll do there's for all the funds. Yeah, there's definitely due diligence process that we will have to do. But yeah, so we're working right now on the due diligence and as far as getting the DR funds. But yeah, they won't be awarded until we start construction.
So that hasn't been locked in yet?
No, we've been awarded, but they haven't been expensed to the project or anything. We haven't received them yet.
And then your application mentions it's proposed to be 2 phases. Is the 18 duplexes in 1 phase, or that'll be 9 on each phase?
So yeah, good question. So the first phase is the 18 duplexes, 36 units, and then the second phase we're looking at doing another 18 duplexes or 36 units. If this all goes well, we'll look to even submit an application next year for the LIHTC. And I do want to say I do commend you for the housing study and that you're doing because the LIHTC part of these projects are very competitive. And so Bellevue, we're competing with Omaha and Lincoln and other big metro areas to get these funds. And so it definitely helps having other funds. Like this project wouldn't happen without the DR funds. So so I am happy to see that it looks like the city of Bellevue is looking to put more resources into housing, particularly affordable housing. So thank you.
In the LIHTC application process, how many months do you think it'll be before you know for sure if you can lock in and meet the points?
So yeah, we got awarded credits for that. In total, it's roughly around 8 million federal and state tax credits got awarded to the project, and we're looking to hopefully close in June. We're working through this process, and we'll have to rezoning, replatting, and things like that. But we're hoping to close to June on the project and start construction shortly after.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
If there's no other questions or comments, I'd be prepared to make a motion. I would move to approve Lot 7 and 8 Old Orchard Place as blighted and substandard designation in fulfilling the community redevelopment law as presented.
Is there a second?
Second by Sims.
Motion by Ackley, second by Sims. Please vote.
All voted yes, motion carried.
And that will go before the City Council on January 17th. Thank you. Application 3B is a request to rezone Lot 1 College Apartments Addition, excuse me, from RG-8 to RG-8-PS for the purpose of multifamily development with site plan approval. Applicant Elevate Lofts LLC, general location 400 West 19th Avenue, case number Z-2210-12. Staff, any updates?
Thank you. As previously mentioned, the applicant has requested a continuance of this item to the January 26th Planning Commission meeting. Unfortunately, how it timed out is we still had to list it as a public hearing on the agenda because it had already been advertised. However, again, applicant is requesting a continuance, so they are not here this evening and you do not have any kind of site plan in front of you. So they would respectfully request that this be held over so they have some additional time to revise and look at some further engineering before they come back in front of you folks.
Thank you. As Mrs. Palm stated, the applicant is not here, so I will open the public hearing to anyone who wishes to speak on this matter. Again, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and sign in.
Hi, it's Karen again, 1807 Madison Street in Bellevue. Tonight I have spoken to many neighbors in our neighborhood that surround this lot. We have many concerns that we'd like you to think about. I know you don't have anything in front of you. The college apartments were built in the late 1880s. They were changed into studios, all before code hit in 1965. And we are concerned as there's always been problems with water and erosion from this property. Sill suits have been taken, but because the property manager fails to do what was determined, we cannot fix our properties. He's also owned this property for at least 10 years and it has gotten downhill. So our concern is we do want to help Bellevue improve, but we're not sure if this is the right person to help improve Bellevue. As he mentioned, if he builds all these apartments, it could bring potentially a lot of students into the school area. There isn't much drainage or sewage in that area or on those lands from general. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I know Tammy and her crew and everyone at the city is going to do their due diligence. But we as neighbors, we are concerned. They tore the buildings down. Now some of the houses are getting water in their basements. We don't know who to turn to. The area's just been a total wreck. And I guess we want you to really think about if that's the kind of business person you really want to bring in. And if you do, what can we do to manage any future neglect, disrespect of city, police, etc. Is that what I'm supposed to say now? I'm not sure what we can do, but again, we have several concerned citizens who live around the property. Thank you for your time. Do I have to sign in again, or is that?
No. As long as you stated your name and address, again, that's fine.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Not this time. Thank you. Okay, I close the public hearing unless there's somebody else who wants to speak. Okay, close the public hearing and turn it over to the commissioners. We have a request to table this until January.
Yes.
Commissioner,
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve a request to continue this to the January Planning Commission meeting.
Second by Higgins.
motion by Arnie, second by Hankins. Please vote. Okay, this will be tabled then until the January meeting, which is January 26th.
I guess question for staff on that, if they've taken down the building and graded, it's probably subject to a SWIP or something. If there are complaints on water and erosion, would that fall under a SWIP plan that's currently open? They can get some relief from?
The chief building official's aware of it. The neighbors have talked to them, so
Okay.
he has been out there on a couple different occasions. To my knowledge, they don't have a grading permit. It's just a demo permit that was taken care of and completed.
Keep talking to the folks at code enforcement.
Oh, I am. There's a couple other people that are helping too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to current business, 4A, discussion regarding the